So the recording is turned on. So for those of you, who have not come across this in previous discussions with Amol, we record all the sessions. This way, if you miss anything, including this orientation, you'll have the ability to go back and review it. Right. So Coach is a provider of consulting services, specifically in the space of SAP, and more recently in SAP Cloud and HANA has been or has become our forte. In addition to SAP, we do consulting in a lot of other areas in IT as well. A lot of them related to SAP, database administration, manufacturing execution systems, web technical services, ITIL and change management are some of the other areas, where we spend a lot of time in addition to SAP. We were established in 1998. Some of these numbers are dated. We're close to 125 resources between US and India. 20 plus clients. Most of our client base is Fortune 500 companies, as they are the ones who have pioneered the use of SAP over the years. We are partners with SAP, SAP Services partners with Amazon Web Services, with IBM, with HP, with Microsoft as well. It's not mentioned here, especially Microsoft Cloud Services using Azure. We are a minority business enterprise and a small business enterprise here in the U.S. Have our headquarters in Ramsey, New Jersey, and a solution delivery center in Gurgaon, India. Amol works out of our solution delivery centers, and we have a regional headquarter in New Delhi, India. So the partial listing of clients we do work with, as you would see here, they're across the board in different verticals. A lot of them are bigger Fortune 500 companies, from Accenture in the service sector to UPS in the logistics sector to Deloitte in the service sector, Sony, high-tech manufacturing, Allstate, insurance industry, Campbell, CPG, Kraft, CPG, right? So again, this is a partial list, but just to give you a sense of the background of the company and the type of consulting work we have been providing. Our business model is actually very similar to what you would find in other consulting companies, except that we pride ourselves in our vision, to provide premier SAP technology consulting and training services. We have a strategy of vertical integration. We hire, train, deploy, develop, and retain talent. Have got key partnerships with SAP, IBM, HP, Microsoft. We got both full-time W-2 as well as contract resources, and a very comprehensive database of vendor and consultants, which we maintain in CBIZ. Obviously, our customers are large businesses, now even being extended to MB, medium-sized businesses. Some of the solution offerings which we have in the SAP space: Architect SAP, which is our SAP technical architecture strategy and design solution
has joined the conference.
Remote SAP, Best Sure, SAP Netweaver Systems Administration, which we provide from our Gurgaon office in India. Manage SAP, which is SAP Solution Manager Implementation and Consulting Services. Turbo SAP, which is SAP Performance Management. Quality Assurance as an Assure SAP. This is automated QA testing of SAP, both functional and performance. SAP Security Design and Administration. This is Secure SAP. Train SAP is SAP Technical Training. Consult SAP. This is more in the staff augmentation arena. And as part of our Architect SAP and Manage SAP, some of the bigger service offerings, there's a lot of inroads into cloud and HANA specifically in that space. Okay. Right, moving on. There's a lot of international acclaim which we have received recently. In a 2016 CIO review article, Hoj was named as a top 20 most promising SAP solution providers, and one of our key service offerings, which is SAP Technical Architecture, is what a lot of the talk about was in that article. We assess SAP Technical Architecture for our clients and provide design, build, and remediation recommendations for existing and new SAP landscapes, more specifically on HANA and cloud. My background, name is Ajay Dhingra. I've given you my LinkedIn profile so that you can spend some more time on it, if you're keen on knowing the details of who would be teaching this course. 20 plus years of IT experience, including 5 years with Big 5 management consulting firms, Pricewaterhouse and Accenture, spent some time with Deloitte as well. Over 16 years of SAP basis project management, team lead, administration, architecture experience, number of full life cycle SAP ERP, BW, Solution Manager, APO, SCM, Portal, PIBO, BPC type of implementations. I'm an SAP certified basis consultant. I have an MBA and master's from Tier 1 universities in the U.S. Did my MBA at Stern Business School, NYU, and my master's from Drexel University. I've been teaching this course for over 15 years as well, so I'll be able to bring to the table both technical skill set and the ability to be able to explain the concepts which are well understood, right? So that's my background. Occasionally, if I am not there, Raj Ramakrishnan would take the course. He's not on, on the session today, but very comparable background.
Has joined the conference.
Also a certified consultant with a master's in computer application arena, has been teaching for a number of years.
Has left the conference.
Years of total experience, architecture level resource. So just want to kind of give that background as well. With that, we will focus and get into introduction to SAP for those, who are new to this area. For others, who have been thinking of getting trained in SAP, some of this might be, redundant, but even if so, just bear with us. All right. Just give me a second here. All right, apologize for that. So what is SAP? Obviously, it's a German acronym. When SAP came to US or branched outside of Germany, more commonly it came to be called Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing. Right. So that's the acronym and what it means. There is a German phrase as well to go with it. I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but more importantly, Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing. It's world's leader provider of enterprise application software, a publicly listed company, hundreds of thousands of customers in more than 130 countries. Founded in 1972 by 5 former IBM employees and is used by 80+% of the Fortune 500. At the core of the company is their Business Suite product, which has got 5 key areas in it. We've got ERP, which is Enterprise Resource Planning. We have got SCM, which is Supply Chain Management, CRM, which is Customer Relationship Management, SRM for Supplier Relationship Management, and PLM for Product Lifecycle Management. So those are the details. Moving on to the next slide. Some of the 3-letter acronyms, right, which have been introduced and are very common in IT and more so in SAP world as well. We're going to talk about that momentarily. Okay. Typically, why are there so many acronyms, right? In any industry, more so in IT, right? It's just to make it difficult for the competition, right? Our goal here as a training entity is to make it simple for you. So SAP Business Suite, which has ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. The actual version is called ECC6. And now, becoming more prominent is S4 HANA, which is going to be the Simple Finance replacement for ECC6 going forward. ECC stands for Enterprise Central Core component. It includes a lot of the modules, which, we have talked about previously. We have not talked about previously, but for people who are not new to SAP or have read about it, might have heard of these modules. FICO, or commonly called as FICO, is the Finance and Controlling module. We've got Sales and Distribution, SD, Material Management, MM, PP for Production Planning, HR for Human Resources, PS for Project Systems, WM for Warehouse Management. Supply Chain Management, SCM, is the newer name for what used to be called earlier as APO, Advanced Planning and Optimizer, which is the earlier name for SCM. SCM also has got in its module, has also got in it modules like Demand Planning, DP, SNMP for Supply Network Planning, SNC for Supply Network Collaboration, TPVS for Transportation Planning and Vehicle Scheduling. Similarly, the other 3 Business Suite products like CRM, SRM, PLM, respectively, also have respective modules in it. for the purposes of this class, it's good enough to kind of give to you some of these PLAs and make you appreciate what they are and what they mean. In addition, all of you would have heard of SAP Netweaver applications. There are a number of them. SAP Netweaver is the basic building block or the framework on which most, if not all, of SAP applications are built. Web Application Server, WAS, is the core component in the Netweaver stack. BI, or Business Intelligence, also called BW for Business Warehouse. Exchange Infrastructure, which was the old name, and the new name is Process Integration, is an enterprise application integration product, which is used for multiple SAP and non-SAP products to talk to each other. Enterprise Portal, EP, MDM is Master Data Manager. MII is Manufacturing Integration and Intelligence. There's some other products which, or some other acronyms you might come across. Solman is an SAP product or a solution manager product used to manage the SAP landscape. It's typically used by the basis team, SAP Systems Administration team, to manage the landscape or the solution as a whole, and also to build SAP or implement SAP using SAP's ASAP methodology, and to run SAP
has left the
using
conference.
SAP's RunSAP methodology. BO or BobJ, Business Objects, is SAP's OLAP product for online analytical processing and reporting. It has got in it, various reporting tools like Webby, Excelsior, Crystal Reports. It's got ETL capability, data federation capability. In addition, we've got GRC, which is SAP's governance, risk, and compliance product. Services-oriented architecture is becoming increasingly important to SAP, especially as it forays into the cloud space. All right. Introduction to HANA, right? So we'll spend some time can you scroll down the presentation? I think I'm showing my full screen. If on your side you're not able to see it, it might be a resolution issue on your side. Can others respond back? Like in this slide, do you see the Koji logo at the bottom? I'm sure that you should be able to, because I'm showing my full screen. Are others seeing a similar issue? Can one of you respond back in the Q&A section? If you're able to see my full screen, including the logo at the bottom. Oh. Okay, so Saeed is able to see full screen. That means I'm set up well on my side. It might be a resolution issue for people who are not on your side, on your monitors, if you're not able to see full screen, because I'm not blocking anything on my side. Okay, so I can see different. Okay, so I think we are good here. All right, so for people who are not able to see full screen, it's really resolution on your side. And I don't want to change resolution too much on my side because then the whole content is not visible. Thanks for people to respond back. All right. Introduction to HANA. HANA is a modern in-memory database and platform that is deployable on-premise or in cloud, right? So the key is it's in-memory, and more importantly, it can both be deployed on-premise or in the cloud. The technology, right? If we focus here. What the technology is giving us is the improvement in the CPU and the price improvement has been in 20 years. It's been roughly 6,000 times of instructions, MIPS meaning millions of instructions per second per dollar, right? So you see how much it has improved. In the memory space, also see how much it has improved. Megabytes per dollar, right? It's 2 cents per megabyte. You know, used to be. Now it is. You know, you can get 52 megabytes in a dollar. Right? So sorry, this is not 2 cents. This is basically 0.02 MB per dollar. Now, this is what it is, right? So the improvement is 2,600 times. Addressable memory, right? The memory which a CPU can address has gone up by 2 raised to the power 48 times, right? Significant increase here. The network speed, from hundreds of megabits per second has now gone to hundreds of gigabits per second. So meg to gig, 1,000 times improvement. So this portion of the technology has gone up, in 20 plus years, thousands of times. However, on the disk side, right, the disk transfer rates is growing much slower than all other hardware components while the need for speed is increasing. That means the disk I/O accessing a disk drive has increased only 124 times in 20 years. That's not good enough. That is the reason the database technologies are saying that since the disk I/O is a bottleneck, right, we cannot process data fast enough. Rather than focusing on getting disk I/O to improve significantly, why don't we move the databases to be in memory, right? Because for memory, we are seeing both addressable memory as well as the memory cost significantly decreasing, right? And this gives the ability of fast data exploration, query, and analytical capability, right? And that's where the focus is. So it's a good slide. SAP HANA enables to perform real-time SAP synchronous OLAP, online analytical processing analysis, and OLTP, online transaction processing capabilities. both, right, real-time. As a result, you can address today's demand for real-time business insights by creating business applications that previously were neither feasible nor cost-effective, right? So in the past, there was performance bottlenecks, right, accessing data from disk. Today, we have gotten rid of that bottleneck. Today, the bottleneck, if there is, CPU waiting for data to be loaded from memory into cache, right? So which is a better place to be in. Okay. So types of memory, obviously we got level 1 cache, which is as close as possible to the CPU. It only takes 2 nanoseconds to access that kind of memory, or 4 CPU cycles, right? Level 2 cache takes 5 nanoseconds, 10 CPU cycles. Level 3 cache takes 20 nanoseconds, right? Main memory, which can be in gigabytes or terabytes, takes 100 to 400 CPU cycles. It's still relatively fast. Solid state memory, right, SSD disks, takes roughly 5,000 cycles, and we can get to terabytes of that memory as well. Disk, obviously, takes a lot of cycles. It takes 1 million cycles to access it, but remember, disk, we can store petabytes of information, right, in a persistent fashion, right? So that's, this is kind of the backdrop in which we are going to learn about HANA, right? Also, what's important to understand here is this is a very, very important slide to understand, for people who come with a background of data structure or database administration would probably appreciate. As a human being, we are accustomed to seeing things in a tabular fashion. Right, saying that, let's say country like US, a product alpha sold 3,000 units, and beta product was sold in US 1,250 units. In Japan, alpha product had sales of 700, and in UK it had sales of 450, right? So this is how, if the information had to be presented in a newspaper or a magazine, this is how they would create the table, and a human being, understands this very well because that's how they have learned it in elementary school, growing up. So when relational databases were created, when Larry Ellison made his billions of dollars, right, he kind of took the same concept and said, oh, let's put it in a row store in a database, right? Row 1, US alpha 3000, right? Row 2, US beta 1250, etc., right? So 4 rows were created. This is how today's RDBMS databases, right, where Oracle did the pioneering, are set up. Because that's how human beings were reading it. But computers, apparently, with the way they access data, find it easy if the data was stored not in a row-structured fashion, but in a columnar fashion. That means store the column called country and give me all the 4 countries in question, and the products which are being sold in those countries and the sales, right? So it's just same data but stored in a columnar fashion. And the BW data in HANA is stored in a columnar fashion, and that's where the speed and power of processing comes from, right? So Mukesh Sinha has a question. Can you elaborate more about OLAP and OLTP concepts? It's a good question. OLTP stands for online transaction processing. So this means transactional systems. So like your sales system or your HR system, your finance system, they're transactional systems. You transact against them. In a sales system, a transaction could be create a sales order, display a sales order, ship a sales order as an example. In a financial system, your transactions could be create a journal entry, right? Post an invoice, receive an invoice, etc. Online analytical processing are decision systems. That means they let you analyze the data. What we know about big data today started with the OLAP, in the past, right? This is analyzing a large set of data. So same for the sales, where a sales order entry system might be OLTP, sales information system, right? So if you want to know that, tell me on a geospatial rendition, that means draw the map of US and tell me the sales by state and by median income in that state. This way I can figure out that, where am I selling most of my luxury cars, in which state? And in that state, in which median income group do I have the most sales? If Lexus wanted to do that kind of an analysis, it would have to use an OLAP tool, which will sit on top of a data warehousing application to be able to give you the geospatial rendition of the sales based upon two types of demographic. One is median income and the other is residence or domicile residence being in which state, right? Just as an example. That's the difference. Transaction versus analytics. The code SAP landscape, right? So all the training which you would do, and you guys are lucky, right? When I was growing up, I wish I had learned it the same way. You're lucky that, all of our environment is on cloud. It's on Amazon Web Services cloud. And we will access our systems on the cloud. So what you see here in the teal blue color is Code VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. And we have got a private subnet. We've got a public subnet. We've got a terminal server in the public subnet, which is running a SAP router. So we will be accessing our systems through the SAP router. And kind of this gives you a good sense of what is there. We are running a solution manager on Linux on an Oracle database. We are running an ECC IDES system on an Oracle database. We are running SQL Server and a Business Objects database on a Windows 2012 server. And then these two are HANA systems. This one is a HANA SPS 9, Support Pack Stack 9 system, which is running a BW and a BW ABAP and a BW Java stack. And this one is another BW system, which is running SLT in it, right? So, and SLT is extracting data from ECC, right? So this is typical for data extraction or data provisioning in the HANA world, right? So we'll be looking at some of these systems in a little while. Okay. The course content, we focus on SAP Netweaver implementation, AS meaning Application Server Implementation and Operations, TADM 10_1. SAP Material and TADM 12_1 and 2 SAP Material. Additionally, we look at the Oracle Administration for SAP TADM 51 Material, and then HA100 and HA200 from a HANA Administration Material, right? Very rarely you would find situations, wherein you are being taught both Netweaver and HANA administration in a single course, so we are unique from that perspective, right? We have taken a lot of pains to build it this way. You will all be receiving a training DVD and some online material. You'll all be part of a Yahoo group called SAP Basis Batch 50, and all communication for exercises, for if there's a delay in a class, or any questions you might have, any answers we have, would all be done through this Yahoo group. Hands-on exercises are given, so we have taken pains in building our exercise materials. So a case in point, if I were to show you some of our exercises. So these are our exercises, right? So if I were to bring up exercise on HANA user, right? Or maybe even better, exercise on HANA hands-on, right? So if I were to bring this up, you would see how well it is structured. Hands-on installation and configuration exercise, right? Raj has built this material, 105 pages, right? So this is one of the exercises where you guys would go and install HANA, right? So by screenshot, every material is available. It's colored so that you can easily discern. Every screenshot of the installation is given, right? Things of importance are highlighted. So very painstakingly the material has been built, right? This is a bigger exercise. A smaller exercise like on HANA user and connectivity is right here, right? On how you connect to HANA, where you enter the user ID, password, what do you see on the first screen, so on and so forth. System privileges, etc. Security is shown here, right? So just want to make sure that you appreciate how this material has been built. There are two questions. Saeed, there's a question, will you be covering ECC and BW powered by HANA and ECC and BW migration to HANA? We won't be covering the migration piece. We can talk about it briefly. Just the amount of material we need to cover in 8 days does not warrant covering migration to HANA. But yes, this BW system which we have is running on HANA. And I will, we'll go through that so that, we can show that to you. Will you teach HANA security as well? We are not preparing HANA security administrators in this course, but as you saw in this exercise, we give enough security details so that you're a successful systems administrator, right? So that's the goal, right? So we are not spending 8 days on security, but we are spending maybe 4 to 6 hours on security in an 8-day course. Okay, good questions. So this is just to kind of give you that, it's not that what I feel like teaching on a specific day, I'm going to start up and start teaching that, right? Everything is well laid out per day, right? This is the training material per day, right? How we go about it, right? Day one, what is going to get covered is, is here. Again, you will see that slide by slide, good pieces of information, right? So that, we can communicate our ideas and concepts effectively, right? So that's on the training material, hands-on exercises, custom installation guide. So what I just showed to you was that installation guide. Our goal is that we prepare you for both Netweaver certification, which is this here, Let me go back in presentation mode. Yeah, so Netweaver certification, right, which is this one, and then 2 HANA certifications, right? SAP Certified Technology Specialist for HANA, and then SAP Certified Technology Associate for HANA, right? So we've given the so we've given those details to you on the various certification courses, right? Which you can, not courses, various certification exams which you can take. Okay. Just give me a second. All right. Next slide. Hands-on exercise, right? So what all hands-on exercise you would cover, right? Nobody out there is going to give you this kind of hands-on exposure, right? We have taken the time to build all of this for you. So HANA installation, HANA upgrade, BW ABAP installation on HANA, BW Java installation on HANA, BW ABAP and Java upgrade, SAP system refresh using backup from a different system. So this would be very similar to what you might have to do even for the migration piece, which had been asked by one of you. Client creation, copy and deletion exercise, transports of objects, user role creation and more. So this is on the security side, HANA backup and restore, right? So all of this is important, right? And is part and parcel of what's going to be touched and taught. The training is going to be conducted on a HANA server for both ABAP and Java instances, right? So we're doing the training itself on a HANA system for both the Netweaver side of the training as well as definitely for the HANA piece. The systems will be available 24/7 for your practice, reference, etc. Also, they're running on the cloud. They're running on Amazon Web Services, right? So you'll be using it on the cloud. You'll get exposure to that as well. Opportunity to work on SAP SLT and business objects. Exposure and opportunity to work on multiple database platforms, right? So we've got some systems running on HANA, some running on Oracle, some running on SQL Server, right? So you have a good gamut of everything out there, available to you, brought to you by the benefits of running the training environment on the cloud. We have a unique training methodology. So we pride ourselves, from an instructor standpoint, we are not just simply taking somebody who attended the course in the previous batch or 2 batches ago, right? I or Raj will teach you the course. Great background, great experience. The material has been very carefully crafted, which we'll be using. Individual installation on your own server. So each and every one of you would do an install of SAP, BW ABAP, and Java on a HANA database as part of this training program. It'll be your own server. The reason we can give you your own server is because we can give it to you on the cloud. 24/7 global access. If you miss anything, you obviously have the recording, And you cannot give me an excuse that, I'm going somewhere for summer. Wherever you're going, you should be able to attend the course, and you should be able to attend the, access the system and do the exercises, right? So that's important. Okay. Session recordings. We record every session, and that's available to you for 1 year to not only listen to something you might have missed, but more importantly, revise some of the material. We have a coach placement service offering. A lot of you attend these courses because you want to enter the job market. So we have a placement service offering, which is one-on-one, helps you with resume preparation, mock interviews, some in-depth projects as well at the same time. We have a schooling approach, weekly homework, weekly in-class quizzes, 20 hours of workload on a weekly basis outside of the training program, right? This way, making sure that you understand the material. In addition, to prepare you for the SAP certification itself, we do a mock test. And the mock test itself is multiple choice, very similar to the certification exam, and that is delivered to you using a specific technology we use. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. The certification exam typically is it's around 80 questions, total testing time of 3 hours. It's conducted at any authorized Pearson VUE testing center. Coach itself is one of them in our Ramsey office, right? So you can take it there. In fact, I'll be taking one exam pretty soon on Microsoft's Azure architecture at our own center. So this is an example of how do we prepare you for the certification, right? So here what you see is an SAP Certified Technical Associate Netweaver quiz. This is being taken on our own portal, right? 80 questions, right? Giving you a specific time elapsed. And this is mock, right? This is not real. This is, we are giving to you in a mock fashion, but computer simulated, right? So for making sure that you understand the concepts better. The performance report is shared with you, right? So this is from batch 46. Obviously, batch 46 didn't do well, right? And it hurts me to see my students not doing well. But at the same time, I want to give them a fair assessment, right? So a good chunk of students, right? So 6 students in this case, or maybe 7 students in this case, scored below 50%, right? Not good, right? Some did better, but this is not good. Of the ones who took the exam, right? A lot of them didn't take the exam, but we want to change that. We want to force people to take the mock test, right? It's for your own good. And we share this with the students. These are the actual questions. We have erased the questions here, right? So you don't see the question in this. But see, the reason I showed this to you is that SAP has a concept of multiple right answers, right? So you cannot get around with process of elimination, unfortunately, right? You really need to know all the choices because multiple answers could be right. So systems administration in SAP is called BASIS. Netweaver is the foundation for all SAP products, right? We talked about this. Time permitting today, we will spend some time on the Netweaver architecture as well. When we do that, we'll go to SAP Tech Unit 1, page 16, or I'll just pull up a slide so that we can talk about it. Before I do that, before I go any further in my slide deck here, let me quickly answer some questions. Okay, let's look at these questions which we have. The first question: will you allow us to install Solman and ECC on HANA and configure? No, we will let you allow to install BW on HANA, not ECC and Solman. Solman for HANA, you know, when we were preparing the material, was not released. I'm not sure if it is released now. ECC on HANA takes a long time to install because there are a number of tables, and there's no learning if you're just waiting for those tables to get installed. That's why we do BW on HANA instead. And again, this is not a configuration course, so we don't spend as much time in configuring functionally ECC system, right? Different modules of it. This is a systems administration course. So our focus is on systems administration, not on functional configuration, right? So that's an important point. Upon completion of this training, are we eligible for writing the certification? Yes, yes, you are. SAP never in any of their exam requires you to have experience to take any certification exam. Does experience help you? The answer is yes, but it also does not motivate you, right? If you're working 9 to 5 and you're doing other things, when you get back home, you will never, you will never ever spend time to prepare for a certification exam, right? Because the motivation typically is when you're trying to break into the market, right? At least for most of the people. Some, I take a lot of certification exams, right? Even though I don't need to, but it forces me to understand the theory much better. So the answer to your question is you are able to write it. Renu. Mukesh Sinha is asking a question. Can you give us some basic idea of what is a server, host, router, subnet, ABAP, Java stack, etc.? It will help us understand the future classes better. Sure. I'll maybe spend 2 or 3 minutes on just at least the ones you have listed here to talk about those. And then there's a lot of material available free of cost on internet, to kind of get some of this knowledge as a prerequisite. And in our DVD itself, which you guys are going to receive, a lot of these prerequisites are covered in a knowledge base folder, right? So, and a lot of other books are provided to you as well in there, right, which you can refer to, which will give you this insight. Okay. 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 So let me quickly. Okay. So before I answer these questions, let's just take a 1-minute break. Since I've been talking for an hour here, and then I'll start with Mukesh's questions, then Akim's question, and then we'll proceed further, right? Okay. Please do not share your screens, right? I think Sultan starts sharing his screen. That's only if I have to help you with something, right? So don't share your screens. All right, let's get started. Let's look at the questions. Can one of you respond back if you can hear me? Can one of you respond back if you can hear me, please? Nobody can hear me? Oh. Let's see.
Hi, Jay, this is Amol. You are audible, clear.
Okay, all right. All right, Brian. Thanks, Amol. Okay, great. Okay, so Mukesh sent us question. Can you please give us some basic idea? Okay, so this is the one we stopped at. So server is nothing but a computer system, except its main function is to serve information. That means it's not a client, it's a server. Client's main function is to ask for information. Server's main function is to serve that information, right? To answer questions. Typically, these are bigger machines because to answer a question, they need to, in most cases, go back and look at a database to get the answer, right? Host is essentially another name for a computer system, and mostly they are server machines. Router is a device which routes traffic from one network to another network. So Cisco pioneered the use of routers, right? And they power the whole internet, and they let you route network traffic, TCP/IP traffic from one network to another network. Very similar to, you know, what a post office would do or a zip code would do, right? To make sure that when you want to communicate from one to another, you need to know what type of information do you need to provide for your data packets or for your letter to be routed. Subnets are the networks or subnetworks which are linked together by routers. The reason you do it this way is because you don't want to broadcast every information to everyone outside, right? So when I'm at home and if I need to reach out to my son or my daughter, I can just call them by their first name and they will answer. I don't need to be very specific with their full name, social security number, this, that, and other, right? Why? Because my scope in which my request is being made is limited, and they are unique within that. ABAP and Java stack. So SAP has got a split personality, the application server piece of it, right? So application servers are the type of servers which perform business logic. The application servers in SAP are either written to understand and work with ABAP code, those are called ABAP stack application servers, or the ones which work with Java code and do Java work, they're called Java stack application servers or Java application servers, right? So this at least gives the few items which you asked for, Mukesh. I've answered those. No, you don't have to be certified to be placed by our company. In fact, it goes the other way around. If you participate in our KPSO program, we will make sure that you get certified. KPSO stands for Coach Placement Service Offering. Manu Prakash has a question. Can we have any upgradation and migration? Yeah, upgrades, yes, we talked about that, right? Right here. Hands-on exercise. Resume slideshow. Right. In the hands-on exercise, SAP HANA upgrade. SAP BW ABAP Java upgrade. Right. So it's being covered. Now we will connect to an SAP system. Samol, Raj was able to respond back to me, so we don't need to get in touch with Gaurav. So we'll connect to an SAP system. It's just that the slide has changed a little bit. When I send you the material, and for those of you who have already downloaded SAP GUI, can try this at their end now. I'll tell you what the difference is, so that the things which have changed here are the following. Okay. I apologize for this because we have to change the server. Is the following, right? So this is the new screenshot in here. Okay. For those who have got SAP GUI downloaded, can set this up in their SAP GUI. For those who do not have it downloaded, don't worry, just look at what I'm going to be doing, and that should suffice. This is the user ID password information. This IP address is key. Instance number is key. System ID is key, right? All right, so here's what we're going to do. I already have this set up. This IB0 system, this is a VW on HANA system. It has that IP address of 54.227.245.127, a system number of 01, and a system ID of IB0. Where is this system in the first place? Well, it's on Amazon Web Services Cloud. So here I am on Amazon Web Services console, right? The beauty of Amazon is you can buy a toothpaste, a toothbrush, you can buy a Maserati car, and you can run and buy compute capacity, everything on it, right, on this marketplace. So we are running 4 instances on it right now. The ones which show green are in a running state. And this one here, Code HANA IH0. So this is one of our HANA systems. It has an IP address of 54.227.245.127. Right? Does that ring a bell? Sure it does, right? It's the same IP address as here. Right? So that's the HANA system. It's running. Right? It has a public IP address, which is how we're going to access it. Okay. So other details of it. It's running on Linux operating system, and it's running the HANA database. I can take any action on it. I can stop it, reboot it, terminate this instance, right? I can take an image, which is a backup of it, right? Disconnect an elastic IP address to it, right? All of this is being done using this console. and this console is an Amazon console, right? And I can start a system relatively easily, right? I can stop a system relatively easily. We use this for training purposes. We use it for client work, right? Some of these systems are stopped. We don't have to go and buy these systems. So the training systems, right? When you guys can, when you start doing your training, right? These are all training systems, TB1, T01, TH1, right? Which this is batch 49. When they were doing their installs, right? And it's very easy for me to pick one of these up, say action, I can terminate if I wanted to, right? I can take one of these systems, TB1, right? And take an action on it, right? So that's important to know. Okay. Right, so this is start. Right, so I can start it myself, right? So I don't have to, because since it's on the cloud, there's no button. I cannot get into any room and start it, right? So this is how one would start it, right? So let's connect to this system, right? ID0, it's set up. I double click. Shishya is the user ID. Welcome is the password. Okay. And this is the main screen of SAP. This system is running on HANA. And the way you can figure that out is you can go to System Status. And here it tells you a number of things. Number one, it's running on a Linux operating system. Number two, the database it's using is HDB, HANA database. We can get some more details on the HANA DB release, the kernel release, the IP addresses. Again, we'll spend a lot of time on it, but just wanted to tell you that all of this information is available. And this is where you enter your T codes, right? If I want to look at who is currently logged on, I can do SM04 transaction. I can see, Sultan is logged in into client 999 3 times, and these are some of the other individuals logged in as usual. Shishya from different machines, doing different transactions, right? All right, so that's, again, that's the reason all of you can connect to it, because it's running on the cloud, accessible through the internet, running on HANA, right? So some of the things which I want to talk about, right, is on the technical architecture front and HANA 100 row and columns front, right? So we will very quickly bring up some of the material, where we want to kind of cover the SAP architecture. So this is the SAP architecture of an ABAP system. Down below, here is the database, right? This is running the ABAP stack in it, right? That means the schema is an ABAP schema. And you can access the ABAP system using SAP GUI. The way I was accessing it right now, right? I access using SAP GUI. You can access it using a web browser as well. An SAP ABAP system has one and only one ASCS, which is ABAP System Central Services, which has got an NQ server for log management and a message server for load balancing. Right? And in addition, you can have any number of application servers. Each application would have a dispatcher, a gateway process, and internet communication manager for serving the web traffic. And the dispatcher talks to a number of different work processes which do different types of work in an SAP system. We'll talk about the work processes in a little while. Again, don't worry about the complexity here. This is the kind of material we'll be covering. That's the reason I'm covering this relatively quickly now, to kind of give you a sense of what to expect in this course. This is the Java stack, right? So Java schema in the database, very similar to the ABAP schema. It has got System Central Services as opposed to ASCS, which we had earlier, which was ABAP System Central Services, right, in the previous slide. Has got an NQ server, has got a message server. This is for log management. This is for load balancing, right, LB, load balancing. Internet Communication Manager to manage the incoming web traffic, and then it has a startup framework to start server processes, right? Multiple of them. This is a Java system. This is actually incorrect here. Typically, you won't access the Java system through a SAP GUI, right? Both the stacks can run together as well, and this is an example of both the stacks running together, blue being the ABAP stack, yellow being the Java stack, right? So it's called dual stack system. Okay. The work processes which are there in SAP are of the following kind: dialogue, which is interactive workload. Right? Anything you do through SAP GUI is being handled by a dialogue work process. Then you've got the background work process, which is there to manage batch activity, background activity, things which are not tied to a user. Then you've got log management through an NQ work process. V is for updates, to insert records or update data in a database table. Spool is for printing purposes, right? Printing, updates, log management, background work process. Dispatcher is to dispatch. It's almost like a taxi cab dispatcher. Dispatch incoming requests to any one of these work processes, right? Gateway is to communicate to the world outside. ICM is to manage internet communication coming in from the web. Either it goes to the ABAP stack or it goes to the Java stack. Message server is used for load balancing. It talks to multiple different dispatchers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 in this case, right? So that's the basic Netweaver architecture on how the Netweaver stack communicates, right? Again, we'll read more about all of these, in some of these slides. Okay, and then what I wanted to also real quick look at is
Ajay, there's some more. I think sharing is ended. Could you share again?
oh, well, it was never sharing.
Actually, I think someone tried to take the controller. I think you have to share again.
Okay, I'm sharing now. Yep. Yeah, please do not take control away from me, right? Okay. Okay, so then the next thing we wanted to briefly cover, and I've picked these examples specifically, right? So we looked at the technical architecture. Now we want to look at row and column store in a HANA database, right? And we briefly looked at this. Is if you have got data, right, which is tabular, this is how it will look like. If in a typical database you put this in a row format, right, will look something like this. And so all the 4 rows are here, right, in a typical database. So if somebody says select country, sum the sales from sales order, where product is called group by country, right? If somebody asks you to do this, how would that go about, right? So this is what would happen, right? For different countries, right? The HANA column order will go like this through the columns and give you the summary, the summation, and in the row order you would go something like this, right? That's the difference. This is how you go from a row fashion. This is how you go from a columnar fashion, right? But there's few interesting things to note here. Row-based store, mainly distinct values in the source database, leads to low compression rate. All columns in the table are relevant, right? So basically, if you look at any database table, there are no 2 rows which will look exactly the same, right? So the compression is less. All columns in the table are relevant, right? No aggregation or search required. You have to basically go from row to row. Table has a minor number of records. Some system tables are stored in the row store, right? So this, HANA lets you do row-based store as well, but obviously it has got its disadvantages. Column-based store, large number of rows, where column-based operations can be processed, right? Where you can do column-based operations, right? So that's the important thing. Large number of columns. This is a conceptual view, right? Very good suitability for analytical applications. That means for all app applications. Conventional database stores records in rows. So if they were to store in row, it will look like this: A, 10 pound, B, $35, C, 2 euro, right? D, 40 euro, E, 12 euro, right? But if you do it in columnar fashion, it will look like that: A, B, C, D, E, 10, 35, 2, 40, 12, euro, dollar, euro, euro, dollar, right? This is the difference, right? Columnar layout supports sequential memory access. A simple aggregate can be processed in one linear scan. Massive parallel processing possible per column, right? Because you can go after columns separately. And typically when you do summarization, you are reading things in a columnar fashion, and if you need to add it together, right? Like here. So if you were doing a columnar story, you just quickly go through all of these numbers, right? You don't go from one row to another row to another row to another row, right? That's the big difference, and that's where the speed comes from, right? Okay, and then we'll be talking more about this as we go through, but remember that the columnar store is where the speed comes from, right? Right, so here we are seeing columns, right? But these two customers are the same, so you don't have to store 4 customers. You just say that this customer is the same. So only 3 distinct values, only 2 distinct values, only 2 distinct values, 4 distinct values, right? So that's the difference, right? But each one of these rows in itself is distinct, but each value in the column is not distinct, right? So that's what I want to get across. There are a number of transactions in SAP. You know, when we log into the SAP system, which we can look at, we actually looked at SM04, right, which was telling us the number of users who are logged in, the number of other T codes, you know, which you can look at now that, you know, we have provided you access to the SAP system. So the frequently asked questions, right, and we talked about row store and column store. So the frequently asked questions, right, and I want to spend some time here because it's important for this session, is how are the opportunities in SAP? It's the most lucrative and sought after field in IT. Further to that, basis is more lucrative as compared to other SAP disciplines. Most trainees are able to find assignments within a short time, right? So SAP in itself is very lucrative. You know, it has been hot in the past, and they continue to evolve and bring about new technologies which retain that coveted nature. Do you provide any certification? Yes, we provide a certificate after the training. But at the same time, we tell you that the certificate which is of value is the SAP certification, right? And we prepare you for it. The course is preparing you for it. Do you help with placements after the course is done? Yes. We have a special program called the KPSO program, Course Placement Service Offering. And the focus of that program is to provide you with placement assistance. Do you provide remote access to the servers? Yes, 7/24. How do you attend the SAP class remotely? Same way as you're doing it today, through live meeting. And live meeting has the benefit that I can share anything, and the whole thing also gets recorded. How long after the training do I have access to the servers? You have it for 3 months. Even there we are flexible. If you have a need to have it for more time, we can provide it. Typically we charge for it, but a lot of times we waive it as well. Here is a case study for a student, you know, who attended our program. I mean, this is, you know, from an old batch, from batch 29, but, you know, we just have kept this, you know, there's a number of examples similar to this, right, in hundreds, essentially. She attended the SAP course from April to June 2010. She then attended the KPSO program from October to Jan 2011. She That means from June to October, you know, she was busy with some of her other, she had some personal situation, right? From here to here. She did her certification in December in the middle of the KPSO program. We started marketing her in Feb to March 2011. She joined Accenture April 18, 2011. Right? So essentially, after the program had she not had this hiatus here, really from October to April, she did the KPSO certified marketing, interviewing, and starting at Accenture. And maybe we should extend this. Her profile even after joining Accenture has been even more meteoric, which I think Amol and I should really put that together as well. She attended all sessions remotely, right? We have an opportunity for people to attend in our class, but she did it remotely. She was in Canada. Very focused, asked questions before start of each class. Very active in the class itself, completed all the homework on time, including the installation exercise, which we believe is our most difficult exercise, and she got certified with 90% grade, right? Here is her certification, right? So it's December 2010, 90%, right? Most of her scores are pretty good, right, in different areas. Areas she did bad, which I yelled for, you know, system configuration. We covered this very well in the course, but she didn't do well. And then also starting and stopping of SAP system and SAP Internet Technologies. Again, these areas, I think we do a pretty good job, but for some reason she didn't score well. So she took the Oracle DB portion of the Netweaver certification exam, right? So this is just an example of how she was able to propel her career. Next we have, you know, since we said that we want to end, you know, around 12, I wanted to make sure that I give you some time to ask questions. And, you know, some of those questions might warrant that I show you some other things over the next 20 minutes. But before you do ask questions, I'll start with the questions which have been asked here. Okay, so we'll just give me 1 minute to have a glass of water, and then we'll start with these questions. Others, if you have questions, start typing them. I'll take them one by one. If you're on the phone, you can ask verbally as well. All right? All right. Hopefully you can hear me. Let me know, and we'll get started. The first question. The first question is from Ibrahim. Hello, assume I'm a dummy in this. Please be slow and steady. Sure. Our goal is to make sure that you guys understand. However, in this class, since this is the orientation session, Our approach is to get your hands dirty, pick you up by your hair, throw you in the deep end of the pool, right? Not to scare you, but to tell you how deep it is, right? And that, I believe personally, will get you motivated, won't scare you, right? Because this is not school. You people have taken your own time, your own weekend, and have shown the dedication to come and attend this. That tells me that there's a desire to succeed, there's a desire to change your career. And, you know, to be able to fulfill it, I want to make you a little bit nervous, make you a little bit overwhelmed, because I want you to be a sponge, learn as much as possible, and hence it is structured this way. But again, the goal being to make sure you understand the concepts. Akem has a question. This is a lot of information. What will be the best way to successfully master this information in 2 months? Do you give weekly quizzes to make sure students don't fall behind? Also, are we getting training on both HANA and Oracle DB? Okay. Yes, indeed, is a lot of information. 8 weeks, 64 hours. A lot of information. Some of it you will get in the class. Others you will get by homework. And then the third section would be which you get yourself, because once I kindle the interest and the ability to learn independently, which is very key in IT, because remember, things change, you know. My wife is a doctor. I always jokingly tell her that the human body has not changed for millions of years, right? So, you know, once you master it, right? But in our case, being an IT professional, it changes every 2 years, right? So what will make you successful is your ability to learn from first principle relatively quickly. So to all IT professionals and our employees in our company, I always recommend that your ability to learn and how fast can you learn and how can you put concepts together makes a big difference. That is why typically in IT, engineers tend to do very good. Why? Because they have always learned from the first principle, right? They will learn F is equal to MA, and from there they'll learn 20, 50 different things, right? But that's, you know, obviously, you know, for those of you who are not engineers, you're not engineers. We can't change it, but just keep that in mind, right? What is the best way to successfully master this information in 2 months, right? So the best way to do that is, number one, attend all classes, review all recordings, do all homework. And when you look at the material in your DVDs, you'll find that a lot of things we do not cover in class in that much detail, but it's there. You should pick that up, and then most important is take the certification exam. Do you give weekly quizzes? Yes. We will. Sometimes they are written, sometimes they are verbal. I'll just ask a question in the class, right, like what we're doing right now, right? And people would answer. Are we getting trained in both HANA and Oracle DB? Yes, but more focus on HANA, less on Oracle DB. Mukesh has a question. Is HANA installation different than ECC installation? Yes, HANA is a database, ECC is an application. ECC can be installed on HANA database, it can be installed on Oracle database, right? So if there is indeed comparison, it should be between an Oracle installation and HANA installation. ECC installation and a BW installation, right? We are doing BW on HANA. So we'll first install HANA, then install BW on that HANA. Previously, we used to do Solman on Oracle. So I can give you that material and that recording. So you can see that as well, right? But the hands-on piece which you guys are going to do is BW on HANA. From a recording perspective, from a material perspective, you can also see Solution Manager on Oracle, right? So this way you've got a good sense of both environments. Classes start at 10 a.m. What time are you available for questions? Whenever the class starts, I'm available. But we are available for questions 7 by 24. So the Yahoo group which you have, you can post questions to it. Either myself, Raj, or one of our lab assistants is going to answer it. If it's technical, if it's logistical, then Amol is going to answer it. Next question from Saeed is, will you be covering data provisioning, setup, backup recovery, performance tuning, etc.? Backup recovery, performance tuning, yes. Data provisioning, minimally. We have a separate program or separate course which is being built for data provisioning. But the SLT concepts we will cover, but we have a separate course which we are building for data provisioning because it's a very vast area. Are we allowed to download sessions? No. You cannot download the recording sessions. I think that's what the question is for, so that we can access offline. Yeah, so the answer is no. And the answer is no. There's a story behind it. You know, I think it was maybe 6-7 years ago when we just started to provide recordings, right? A student walked into a registration office back in Edison. I think we were in Edison at that time, and said, Ajay, we have got some very good material, you know, which you should start using in your training program. I said, okay, you know, let's look at it. And he gives me a DVD saying that, you know, why don't you play it? And I put it in and started playing it, and I was like, oh, this voice sounds very familiar. It's so familiar that it is actually my voice. And I asked the person, where did you get it from? Oh, he said he went to this street in Hyderabad, right, and they were selling it there, and, you know, that's where he got it from. So, not that, you know, you would do it, but, you know, to avoid those kind of situations is, you know, why we have stopped the download process. But at the same time, you know, we can make it accessible to you for longer just to make sure that you actually do benefit from it. Saeed, what about HANA integration with Bob J? So that HANA integration with Bob J in depth is covered in our data provisioning course, because that's where reporting and everything becomes part and parcel of it. That course is being built, you know, but you know, purely in terms of, and let me go back there. Purely in terms of key hands-on areas, right? Theoretically, a lot of other things are going to be covered, right? This is what's going to be covered from a hands-on perspective, right? We can only do limited hands-on exercises, right? Another question. Right. Do we need SAP background to get into SAP Basis Administration? No. What are the chances for a person to make career change QA to how coach will help? You know, I'm assuming that when you even entered into QA, you had no IT background. That's my gut, right? Is, you know, because we used to teach QA for the longest time, even now. So if people are able to make that transition, right, with no IT background into software quality assurance, either manual or automated, you know, getting from an IT background in any discipline into basis administration is relatively easier from that perspective. Basis is a difficult area, and that's why it's high paying, because it's very vast. And, you know, one cannot fully master it, ever, right? I always keep joking to people that when I started in Basis in 1996, you know, in a year or 2 years, I felt, oh, I knew 50 to 60% of everything which is out there. Now it is 2016, and I think I know maybe 10 to 20% of what's out there. Why? Because it is growing and changing at a rate much faster than a single human being can devour, right? But still, I'm successful as a consultant in that space, right? And the CIO article, right, that's actually written for me, right, and the company together tells that we are successful. The reason we are still successful, and I am still successful in that space, even with 10 to 20% skill set, is that if there is an opportunity, right, of the 80% which I do not know, the fundamentals are there to kind of pick it up relatively quickly. And that's what you guys should focus on as well. And coach will help, Renu, through our KPSO program, Coach Placement Service Offering Program, outside of obviously this training in itself. Brian's next question, you said the video will be available for 1 year. What does it mean? Yes, it's available online, not to download, but to play online. Right? All session recordings for 1 year after the program ends, right? Yes, as part of the KPSO program, we do have it, right? It is time-bound. It's not mentoring program. It's more hand-holding to make sure that you are indeed successful, right? Just getting an opportunity assignment and getting started, it's good, but it's not good enough, right? You need to be able to sustain it. It's a good question. Yes, we do have clients, right, where there are junior requirements. We have them now, right? Where candidates who show promise, right, both at our office in India or here in the U.S., either who are in the New Jersey area or anywhere else in the U.S., right, who show promise, desire, and inclination to learn and do good work, yes. Okay, Brian, I don't think I understand. Yes. Why? Question mark. That will not be helpful for future reference. Oh, I don't know. I'm not able to comprehend the question or the statement. Clarify it to me so that I can respond back to it. Okay. Anything else? Which there's a question on, which we should talk about. Also, what I had done here is, in the meantime, and let's see who else connected. SM04 transaction. Okay, not too many more people connected. We have other transaction SM21, which is a system log. This is how the system log is displayed in SAP. SM21 is the transaction. We have DB02, which shows the database being used and the details around the database, right? So this is IV0, this is a HANA database, right? And different aspects of the HANA database. We can look at the current overview status if you want. This takes a little while for the status to be calculated. While it's doing it, we can move on to some other session, right? I can start a new session so that the previous screen is still there, just like what you would do in a browser. AL08 is also available, /n AL08, to show users logged in if there are multiple application servers, right? And then here in our deck, we have listed some more, you can list the number of application servers, SM51, background jobs, SM37, work processes, SM50, SM66, right, are available as well. So /n SM66 will show any work processes. These are all in the waiting state. That means they're not running. You can show only active work processes. These are the ones which are running. Right, for this long, right? Right, so this one here, which is running. If I double click on it, it's right here running with user Shishya. So this is indeed my own session where, right, you see this hourglass here? That's what's running here. So once this finishes, my hourglass will go up. So it has finished now. My hourglass is gone as well, right? So I can see the results. Memory available, CPU, disk sizes, etc. Right? All of those details for the HANA database, SAP HANA database, right, is available. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll finish these 4 questions and then we'll call it a day. Hopefully this would have given you good insight. All your life. No, it's not available all your life. If you're not able to master them in 1 year, we need to talk your brain. Okay. Do you hire candidates who are already certified in basis? Yes. Yeah. So if you're certified in basis, would like to talk to you. Okay. Reach out to us or reach out to Amol and he will get you in touch with Deepmala, who is our talent acquisition specialist. For how long we can? 8 hours. And the hands-on exercise is covered both. There's some which are shorter in duration, covered during the class hours, and the ones which are longer, which are given as homework, then you do those at your own leisure. Right? The login and the password for SAP GUI again, yes. Here it is. Shishya is the user ID, welcome is the password. All right, so with that, we are at 12 p.m. So we're going to call it a day. Thanks a lot for all of you to attend. We have had good attendance, 19 people. If you have any questions, please reach out to Amol. He should be able to answer a lot of those. If anything requires my insight, he'll reach out to me. And the only thing I will say is that any investment you make in your career has the biggest, or in your education has the biggest ROI, return on investment, right? So do not skimp on that, especially the investment of time, right? That's important, and I think most of you are already doing it, right? If on this bright, sunny Saturday morning, if you're sitting through this class, right, kudos to all of you. Okay, with that, we will call it a day, and the recordings are going to be made available to all of you from Amol. All right, bye-bye. Have a nice day.
I can, Bella.